Somali lawmakers have voted for a new president, this despite explosions near the Mogadishu airport. 36 initial candidates were reduced to 4 veteran faces in the first round of voting. A new leader was expected to be known by this evening. Somalia is still unable to hold a direct popular vote due to insecurity, with the government having little control beyond the capital. The United Nations-backed vote was delayed by more than a year due to squabbling in government, but must be held this month to ensure a $400 million International Monetary Fund program. Well, for some analysis, we're now joined by Professor Mammo Muchie, who's a Pan-African scholar at the Tshwane University of Technology in Pretoria. Thank you so much indeed. Good to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Long time no see.
Yes, it has.
I'm missing you.
It's been a while. So all eyes on Mogadishu, an airport hangar there, and an important day for Somalis, but there was a security threat earlier in the day, perhaps expected given how important this gathering was.
I think the Somali question is very difficult now, because this is not a direct election. It's a process of selection. If you notice, they are now, they are going through to elect the president. They have gone through the first round. Now they are going to go to the second round. And if the votes are not enough for the second round, even if the person wins, but if the percentage is not the right one, then there'll be a third round. So this is
whilst you're on that, whilst you're on that,
direct process.
Yeah, whilst you're on that, I just want to tell you that the second round has just come out, and the results so far for the second round: Hassan Sheikh, 112 votes; Mohamed Farmajo, 82; Dani, 69. and Hassan al-Khaire, 64. So Hassan Sheikh seems to be the person taking a commanding stance here. Do you think the former President Farmajo is going to accept this result? Because by and large, he was maybe the biggest obstacle in delaying this election.
Yes, I think you are right. Farmajo may not accept. That is the biggest challenge that has happened since after 1991, after Syed Barre left. There have been elections, but they have not been as regular and predictable as possible. So what you are just saying is that if this the former president becomes elected, in other words, he gets the right percentage and then he's accepted, then the current president may be opposing. And the opposition may not be in a direct way. It could be indirect. The reason is, since you have a clan system there are many clans, so it is possible to go to your clan and motivate them and to be an opposition. Then you have all these conflicts, as you see. In this election time now, why would there be all this, curfews and things like that, and then, of course, also the Al-Shabaab are being around, many things like that. So, as you rightly put it, this election is not a direct election. It's not a system, one person, one vote. It's a system based on the clans, traditional clans, all right? And you have also the lower house and the Senate. They are different. What the lower house decides, the Senate opposes. Remember, this happened with the former Prime Minister and the President when they were fighting. all right? When the lower house was in favor of the prime minister, and then the Senate was not. This kind of things are happening all the time. So it's a very complicated system. They need to get out of this system of indirect elections to direct one person, one vote, that we know here happening in South Africa and so on. Something like that is what they need to do. If they continue to do it like this, there will always be conflicts and opposition. Although, there are not many people in Somalia. There are only 15 million people, and it's not. I don't know why they cannot really find a solution, a way to actually address their challenge and their problem. I think it's a very unfortunate situation that Somalia is in this difficult circumstance. The key thing would have been, the other key point you need to remember is that this election was highly driven and motivated by the United Nations, and remember the 400 million from the International Monetary Fund will not be released unless the election happens. They insisted. The external actors said we cannot give the aid if you do not run the election. So they are running the election not because they want to do it, it's because they want the money from outside. If this is what is happening, what my suggestion is that there's going to be a very complicated outcome from this election. In other words, whoever is elected, will this person be accepted by those who are defeated? I think it's not going to be easy. And I think a new system is what they need, not this kind of selection process, indirect election process. They need a direct one person, one vote system that actually makes all the people of Somalia to engage. That would be the best way to move. And I think to create a very predictable system in Somalia. That's my suggestion.
Prof, what is likely to happen now? Because we're down to 4, 2 probably unlikely to progress much further. Will they be in a position to take those votes to one of the other 2 candidates, or what might happen? I mean, is that even possible?
It's an interesting question. What you just asked is, because they have this indirect election process, or what I call it selection process, it is very likely that they could, those that have not got the most, the number of votes are lower, like Dani from Puntland, from regional state, it's possible they may negotiate with the 2 former presidents, and may add their numbers. It's possible they could do that. But the interesting question now is, legally, is this acceptable? Will the people who actually run the legal system by law, will they say this is acceptable? If it's not acceptable, what it may mean is that there will be a third vote. Now we have gone the first one, now the second one, and now the third one. That's what I think. The problem we see in Somalia is now in a worse drought. This is they say this is in the 4 decades. This was the worst time that the country is at the moment, and the Al-Shabaab violence is still continuing. There's also infighting among security forces and among the leaders. In other words, there's conflict among all these 4 that are selected. There's no unity among them. In other words, if one is selected, you're not sure whether the other one will be accepting, all right, the defeat and things like that. Then you have the clan rivalries also. Because of all these contradictions, a direct election, we do not have a one person, one vote type system. And what we have is different arrangements that conflict with each other. And that's why now we say it's an election. It's not the people that are electing. It's about 329 or something in the parliament. These are the people that are in the votes. We call it an election going on, but it's not the people, the 15 million people in Somalia that are electing. Can you imagine?
But some people, some people might say that it's not too dissimilar to South Africa, because here we don't vote for a president, we vote for a party. And then that party in parliament decides who becomes president. Isn't that the case?
Yes, fair enough. But even though you vote for political parties, all right, and of course in the political parties you have certain people running. For example, from the ANC, Cecil Ramaphosa runs. In other words, there's a president running, and then he gets elected. There are others also who are leaders that run. And the interesting question is, it's the people as a whole in South Africa that are getting involved, that have the right to vote. But in Somalia, it's not like that. For example, in the lower house, it's the clan system. In the clan, there are 4 major clans. And there are also minor clans. The minor clans don't have more votes. And their votes sometimes don't even matter. And the bigger clans, their traditional leaders are selected, and then they make the votes. So I think it's a very complicated system. It's not really an election. It's a selection process that they call it election, but it's not really election. And I think what they need in Somalia is to really come back and not really retain all these divisions, the colonial divisions, all the different divisions, the fighting that's going on now, all right? The contradictions, all these things have to be also addressed, because it's not, the way it's going now is going to affect the country more, because the country is in a difficult circumstance now, because of the drought also, the famine may come. So many things are in a difficult situation. Although the country is rich in terms of minerals, it has got, what doesn't it have? It's also rich, but they don't use, again, their own minerals because they don't focus on it, when they should be focusing on real things that matter to the well-being of the people and the security of the people, to serve the people. What you see is all this, going for different offices and saying, selecting who should be, right, whose clan and so on, is what's taking place. And I think it's very complicated. That's what I see.
All right. Okay. We're going to leave it there for the time being. Let's see what the results do produce during the next few hours. It could come soon. It could come late, depending on how many rounds. But thank you so much indeed for joining us, and always giving us time with your insights. Thank you.